Hello everyone, my name is Mani and today I'm going to talk about the travel journey that I had from Pune, all the way Pune to Canada. And I traveled on a COPR visa, which is a confirmation of PR visa obtained through spouse visa, since my husband is a PR holder in Canada. So let's start with the first thing. The first thing is buying your air tickets. Air India opens up slots and they open it only up to a limited period. Now, my advice would be is one person should be on the website. I know the website keeps crashing. They have a horrible website and it cannot handle a lot of traffic. But my advice would be still be on the website, and the other person should be on the app. The app actually works very smoothly. I had my ticket booked through the app, but I still did not believe if the booking was confirmed. So I called them up and I checked with them. The booking was indeed confirmed. So I would suggest go with both options, keep both options open, and that way you should be able to book your tickets. Another thing to be noted is do not use your Canadian card, because what happens is it usually times out because of the conversion. The website is so slow, and by the time they convert and everything, it becomes very slow and then it times out basically. So avoid using it. Try to use net banking and try to use Indian credit cards or debit cards. That would be my advice. Second step would be if you are looking for a layover. Since my option was from London, I chose to take Air Canada. My suggestion would be definitely take Air Canada and Lufthansa. They have excellent service. And another thing is when you have your bags from Mumbai or from Delhi, they would tag all the way to Toronto, which is YYZ. So that would be a very, very good thing. So you don't need a transit visa, first of all. And then second of all, your luggage will directly land in Toronto without any hassle. So that's my advice. Once you're done with the ticket booking, I would like to suggest few things that you should definitely carry. First things first, absolutely carry sanitizers. Carry the small bottles. I would say carry up to 3 to 4 bottles because you would be definitely needing them. Second, carry surgical gloves. I'm talking about the sanitized surgical gloves. Make sure you carry at least 4 to 5 pairs because they tear off very easily. Like, I carried like 4 pairs and all of them were used by the end of my trip. And so I would suggest carry at least 4 of them. Next, carry your own food. The food that is served by Air India is pathetic. Let me tell you that. We were served a roll and it was very soggy and it was mushy. And let's just say overall, only the packed food is good because obviously you know that the packed food will be good or it'll be filled with sodium. So things apart, carry your own food as much as possible, at least till your onward journey, which is like the 50% of the journey. So if you're going to London or Frankfurt or Paris or whatever is your halfway journey, at least have that sufficient food for that. Now, another thing to carry is a blanket. In London, we faced that it was raining. The weather was cold. So for us people coming from Pune, Delhi and other places in India where it's really hot right now, London is fairly cold and it's windy and it's raining over there. So try to carry a small or a nice easy blanket, and plus you will need it in the aircraft as well. I'm talking about Air India and Air Canada. They are not providing any sort of blanket or any such service unless you have a business class ticket. And I think even for business class, Air India is not providing, but Air Canada is. So another thing to be noted is carry a blanket or a scarf if you want to cover your ears or something. Just very thin ones. Don't carry a very heavy one because then there would be some weight issues. Now, you do not, and I repeat, you do not need any sort of printouts. Do not carry any forms for Air India, for Air Canada, your quarantine plan. No, absolutely not. I carried this much bunch of papers, and guess what? Not even a single paper was used except the hard copy of your Air India ticket. That is the only thing that you would be requiring. You do not actually require any other hard copy, and I repeat, no hard copies. Nobody's touching papers. So apart from Air India boarding pass, or not the boarding pass, I beg your pardon, but for your Air India physical printout of your ticket, nothing else is required. Now, once you are done with everything and you're ready to move, my advice would be get to Mumbai or to Delhi airport at least 5 to 6 hours in advance. They take a lot of time and it's very time consuming because they try to do social distancing, but it's not very successful. Let's just stick with that. Now, once you enter the airport, get your bags checked in. Now, Air India will allow you 223 kgs back. I will talk a little bit more about the Air Canada package policy in my later portion. And another thing they would, so Air India allows 23 kgs, two bags, one cabin bag, which would be 7 to 8 kgs, and one personal bag. Personal bag could be a laptop bag, your purse, anything as such. Now, once you're done with your baggage check-in, make sure you inform Air India about your onward journey. If you have a layover and you've booked a separate ticket, please make sure and also tell them to tag your bags all the way to Toronto if that's your final destination. I think most people will have to get it to Toronto, and people who are flying further will then have to again pick up the baggage in Toronto and then take the next flight to Vancouver or Montreal or wherever they're going, basically. That would be my advice. Now, another thing to note over here is once Air India will also give you your boarding pass for Air Canada if you have booked your onward journey or your connecting flight with Air Canada. So they would give you the boarding pass, which will be accepted very easily at the Air Canada counter, so for example, if you're going from London to Toronto, they would very easily accept it. You don't have to get another boarding pass for that, unless you change your seats, of course. Now, once you're done with that, you finish your immigration. Now, for COPR holders, immigration, they do not ask any questions. The only question they would ask is, do you have anyone in Canada? For example, if you are going through a spouse visa, like what I went through, they would just ask you. So I said, I have my husband in Canada. For other people who have got their COPR before 18th March through PNP or through Express Entry, they will need to have a place to stay. They will need to have sufficient amount of funds to survive in Canada. They need to show these proofs. So these people may take a little bit more time at the immigration as compared to spouse visa COPR holders. So once you're done with immigration, you're good to go. And once you proceed ahead, now, since in Mumbai and in Delhi international airports, everything's shut, so you won't get anything to eat, you won't get anything to drink. As I said, please carry your own food. When you get into the aircraft, there's no social distancing. They try to maintain it, but as I said, it's not really up to par, and the middle seats are not vacant, so you better be prepared for the next 9.5 hours. It's gonna be mushed up in there. So once you land once you land in London or Frankfurt, the next step is get out of the plane, and they try to do social distancing, but it's not really successful. So once I landed in London, you don't have to go out to collect your baggage. Point 1. Point 2, you don't have to face immigration. Third point, you do not need a transit visa. Although I would also recommend, please go ahead and check the UK government website, but they have a few rules that are changed effective from 8th June. So I would advise, please go ahead and take a look at those new rules. You do not require a transit visa in UK if your connecting flight is within 24 hours. So we had a layover for 15 hours. We reached London time 7:30 in the evening, and next day 12 p.m. we had our flight for Air Canada. So it was quite a decent layover, I would say, in times like this. And as long as you are with the group, my advice would be stick with your group. If you formed a WhatsApp group for your travel, stay in touch with each other, help each other, and try to get together through this journey. And trust me, it'll really help you survive. It'll literally boost your confidence. So that would be my advice. After you're done so you do not need to go to the immigration. What you need to do is you need to go ahead and get your security check done with your cabin bags. And once you're done with the cabin bag security check, the security check is quite scrutinizing, but that's okay. The next step would be is probably get some food. So there are only 2 shops that are open in Heathrow Airport. One is Boots, and the other one is W.H. Smith. They have cold sandwiches and they're very, very good. Vegetarian, vegan, non-veg, all options are open. Okay, and coffee is there, but there's nothing that is served hot. Everything is cold. You get medicines, you get everything. And Boots is open till 10 p.m. London time, and W.H. Smith is open till 8 p.m. London time. So another advice, if you are going through Heathrow Airport, you just have to go to the terminal. You will be at the same terminal. Air Canada flies through the same terminal, so you don't need to change your terminal at all. But my advice would be go all the way to the ground floor. There are some lounge chairs over there where you can rest. They let you rest from all the way from 11 p.m. or even before that till 4:30 in the morning. The Wi-Fi will only work till 11 p.m. in the night at the Heathrow Airport and will again resume after 4 a.m. in the morning. So another thing that you should know. So if you want to use your Wi-Fi services or you want to talk to someone, just let them know that after 11 p.m. you won't be able to talk to them because the Wi-Fi will not work. And this is especially for people who are not carrying their SIM card or things like that. So I'm sure you understand. Now, coming back to the baggage policy for Air Canada. Now, as many people do understand that Air Canada only allows 123 kg bag. And since we have two 23 kgs bag, when we went at the Air Canada counter, they told us we did not need to pay. When we were at Air India counter in Mumbai, they said you'll have to pay in London. Now, there are cases where people have paid, there are cases where people have not paid. And I will really, really request you not to pay this online. I understand that you want to be sure and you want to be secure and you don't want to pay anything extra more than 100 Canadian dollars. But if you pay in advance online, they will check your bag only till London. And then you need a transit visa to go and collect your baggage. And you do not have that. So do not pay it online. If Air India says anything, tell them I will pay my baggage in London or in Frankfurt, wherever the Air Canada counter is. And I suppose there is some misconception at Delhi Airport, which I'm not really sure about. So you might want to talk to someone over there and make sure you do not pay any money because 100 Canadian dollar is not a less amount. Now, once the baggage policy and everything is done, Air Canada will do certain checks, temperature checks, which is being done at the Air India counter as well in Mumbai Airport. There's no such thing as thermal screening. I don't know how people talked about it, but they just simply do a temperature check, and that's just quite normal, and check for your visa and for your boarding pass. That's about it. The food in Air Canada is excellent. You would really enjoy your food. It would be a 7-hour flight if you're taking from London, and it'll be an excellent flight. They follow social distancing. The middle seat is kept empty. So you might want to choose a nice window seat and enjoy the view. It's a lovely view when you fly from London to Canada. So that would be one thing. When you are in Air Canada flight, they give you a form. It's a very general form with general information, and you just have to fill that up and keep it ready for when you reach Toronto. Once you land in Toronto, and as soon as you get out from the aircraft and you go a little bit further, there are two officers who will be handing you out two different forms. Again, these are basic forms, and they would ask you certain questions like cough, cold, fever, like your health issues. Have you faced anything, or are you feeling anything at the moment? So anything and everything related to coronavirus, in short. You fill up your form. They provide you a proper table, pen, everything is provided at the Pearson International Airport. For those who have an onward journey from there, they have to again go through security check and then go to the CBSA officer, which is the Canadian Border Services Agency. Once you go to the CBSA officer, one thing that you need to be prepared for is a quarantine plan. Now, a few things about the quarantine plan. You really have to have a separate place where you will be staying. The point would be not to have anyone elderly, more than 55, 60 years in your house, or a child in your house at a young elf age. And if you do, then you may not be allowed to stay with your family and you'll have to make your own arrangements or book an Airbnb. Airbnbs are very cheap at the moment. I would advise booking it at least for a month, because 15 days would be quarantine and the rest 15 days you will need some time to get your workaround done, like your health card and things like that, or probably buying a SIM card. So if you do not have your own arrangements, or if the CBSA officer is not satisfied with your answer, they will put you in a government quarantine place, which is fine. Trust me, don't get scared. You should be very, very confident, and as long as they're putting you in a government facility, it's a very, very nice facility provided by the government, and you'll be staying in a place like it'll be sort of a hotel where you would get all your 3 meals and everything would be provided. So it would be very, very nice. And so once you're done with the CBSA, and the next step would be your immigration. During the immigration, there's absolutely nothing to be worried about. But only go to the counter when the officer calls you. That is one thing. Respect the officer. They're doing a job which is very, very important, and your life depends on that right now. So be very nice to the officer. Answer only the question they ask. If they are not asking anything, do not open your mouth. Do not give additional information. Give only the information that they are asking for. As simple as that. And you should be done with immigration with flying colors. Next step, collect your bag and you're good to go. So my advice would be good luck everyone and get going. You will get here, trust me.